we're going to design a bed setup together in this video.
It should work pretty dang well. We have plenty of clearance, and we're not unstable or anything like that. We got a little bit of side-to-side play, but we'll eliminate that with the straps. And what's cool, these are locking. So put it in place, lock it down, and nothing will roll. We're going to anchor it here up to that, and here up to that. This is the rigid box from the Home Depot. The big box is 39 bucks as of the time of filming, and the small box is 29 bucks. What's cool about these things, as you can see the orange seal here. So they're dust proof, they're waterproof. When you're out on the trail and it hasn't rained in like 3 months, 3 years, whatever it is, you're gonna have no problems with dust getting all up in your equipment and everything. Also, this comes with a tray that sits in here just like that. And of course, everything latches down. Here's the smaller of the two boxes. Again, this one's 29 bucks. And so you're thinking, well, why the heck is a box that's half of the size almost the entire price? And it's because this one's got organization inside of it. It's got that same seal that we just talked about. It's got these cool cups in there. And then a divider here, there, everywhere. So, you know, you could probably put axle nuts in here. You know, just stuff that you need. So I'll let you figure out what to put in it. So here's the interesting thing. So they kind of just sit on top of each other. And it doesn't matter which one, well, for the locking, it doesn't matter which one goes on top. Now, the way that we're going to install it in the machine, it is going to matter which one goes on top. So pay close attention on this. Here it is on the side. That guy locks in there. Same thing on the other side. And then we're going to use this as our tie down point. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did with the cooler. You know, these are all still functional and everything when they're stacked up. Pretty nifty. You're probably wondering why the heck there are casters in there, and we're going to explain that in just a second. We told you that the method that you use to put these suckers in there is pretty important. So let's come over and take a look at this. So here's the small box. Take this little Pro Armor light here, stick it under there. You can see how much room is under there. Was it 4 or 5 inches, something like that? And that's because it's hitting on the sides here. Now that's a problem for installation because you're never going to be able to get that thing tightened down that way without screwing up your bed. The larger box is just a little bit better, and I'll explain why. The way this is set up, this hinge is a little bit lower, and it pushes the boxes out toward the back of the machine just a little bit more on the small box than it does on the big box. So since the big box has the hinge up a little bit higher, and the bed has some angle to it, that angle comes out and allows it to clear, whereas it doesn't on the small box. So because of how this ends up sticking a little bit further out, these tabs make contact on the small box, but they don't on the big box. So let's do the same thing that we just did with the big box. And what we're going to see is a much different result. I can barely get the Pro Armor light out. Even though we really probably want to use the small box on the bottom so that we can access the stuff that's in the big box a little easier, we're going to use the big box on the bottom, small box on the top. So we've got to space it up so that it has clearance in order to clear the sides of the bed. Otherwise, you're going to end up warping your bed if you really ratchet it down in there. And again, we don't have ratchet straps. We've got just cinch down straps, whatever you call those things. That's where these casters come into play. And you're thinking, well, why would you put it on wheels? If we're worried about making sure that it doesn't move, why would you put it on wheels? And that would be a phenomenal question if these things didn't have locks on them. And they do. So these are going to act as really two things. One, that's going to increase the functionality of the box, meaning that we're just going to be able to roll this box around wherever we want to. If it gets super heavy and we don't feel like dragging it out to load it when the RZR's on the trailer, we're just going to roll it. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to give a little bit of height to the bottom box, and that little bit of height is going to allow it to clear the side of the bed. These were $5 or $6, a couple dollars in hardware. We got some 3/8 inch 16 thread pitch nylon lock nuts and some 3/8 inch fender washers. So how this is going to work is we're going to drill a hole in the bottom of the box, so a hole on each corner. We're going to put the caster through, put a fender washer on it, and then throw a nylon lock washer on it. 23 wide in the back. It's just here in the front where it gets us is about 20. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that when we space out the casters, we want them to ride inside of the most narrow part. We're about 21 7/8 on width. Again, we want to clear 20 inches with our casters. The caster is only ever going to be that wide. So what is that? About 2 3/8 inches wide maximum. So you can probably see what's going on here. Outside of the caster to outside of the caster, just to make sure there's no interference. And they spin, so you're probably saying, that probably doesn't matter, dude. And you'd be right, but I may know about stuff like this and want to make sure that it works for you. So we're going to make sure that these casters, when they're installed, can only ever be 20 inches wide at their maximum, so that when you drop that thing in the bed, it doesn't damage anything. 21 7/8. This is a lot of math, right? This is why I'm trying to get this right. So we can measure it this way, 3 5/16 in, right there. Or you can try to find the center of the box and measure 7 5/8 out. Your choice. Either way is going to give you the same result. Now, we also need to figure out where we are on this axis. One thing that's really helpful in this process is if you have a square. If you don't have a square, it's not absolutely critical, but if you do, it'd be helpful. If you do have a square, you can probably figure out all this stuff on your own, but maybe you're just cheating and watching YouTube. Get it all squared away. We said that was 1 13/16, and we need to be 2 1/4 in. So our hole on this side is going to be at the 1 13/16, and then 1/4 mark. So right there. So where is that at? You're just using a tape measure. Again, we're 2 1/4 off of the edge, off of the front edge here, and we are 3 5/16 off of this outside peg. We're going to do that in every corner here. See what I was talking about making sure that it doesn't go past the front of the box here. And then this should allow us to space inside just enough so that things drop into place. And we get that inside 20 inches. Next thing that we're going to do, you saw all the casters in there. We're just going to take these big fat fender washers and place one on each of the casters. Then we've got a nylon lock nut that's going to thread right onto it. We're going to run these down and the caster setup is going to be finished. And that took all of what? And even with all the math that I pretty much did for you guys, 10 minutes?
Probably, yeah.
We got everything tightened down, and you can see how things work. What's cool is you can see that if you look at things from the top, you should not be able to see the casters, which means that they're going to sit down in there really nicely. So if you've made it this far, you've already seen us make straps for the cooler. We're not going to re-explain how to make the straps, the shortened straps, so you're going to have to repeat the same process. You're going to need 4 of them. We'll show you how to tie it down. So this is our setup. We've got 2 rigid boxes, 2 straps on each side with the lock and ride anchors in there. And then in the front, we've got the Ozark Trail cooler, straight out of Walmart. It currently does not have the straps on it because we reuse the straps. We'll make new straps for cooler as well. Let's tally everything up. 30 for the anchors, 50 for the cooler is 80, plus 30 for the straps is 110. We've got $40 or $39 is what it was in the top box. I'm sorry, in the bottom box, and the top box is 29. So we'll call it 30. So 40 plus 30 is 70. We said we were at 110. That means we've got $180 in the entire setup. We promised you a $200 setup that would get you out on the trails, have everything secure, wouldn't have everything rolling around. You've got plenty of space to put your straps, to put tools that'll keep you going out on the trail. So you can rig something up if you break a tie rod or something like that. Obviously, very secure. It's not going to be top of the line. You shouldn't expect that. But for $180 to have all your tools with you, to have all your drinks with you and your lunch and everything that you need in the cooler. You've got a roto-molded cooler that is going to perform up there with some of the best coolers on the market. It's not going to be a Yeti or anything like that, but it's a pretty dang nice cooler for the $46 that we paid for it. Even if you're paying the normal retail, which is closer to $90, it's still a nice cooler for comparing it to what's out there. So this is going to be our setup when we hit the trails. We'll circle back and let you know how we like it. I think this is a very, very good setup for not a lot of coin. One thing that we will ask you to do is go ahead and like the video if you don't mind. If you found it helpful, and you'd like to get more of this type of content, go ahead and subscribe, turn on your notifications so that when we drop a new video, you get a notification on your phone or in your email or however you have it set up. And that way you'll be able to stay in tune. If this did help you out and you think that it might help somebody else out, share it with them. Doesn't hurt to send a link, and that'll help grow our community as well. You doing that, you liking and sharing is worth more to us than you can even imagine. It helps grow our channel. It helps grow our content and keeps us doing cool stuff like this. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.